Hey everybody, welcome back. Monday Morning Briefing, episode number 117. It is Friday, May the 24th, and we're back in the shop. We've got the shop kind of put back together for the most part, and we got back Tuesday evening from Sheridan, Wyoming for the Rocky Mountain Leather Trade Show. So if you weren't aware that we were gone, we were out of the shop all of last week. We left actually Saturday. I don't remember what day that was. But anyway, that's previous Saturday we left, and then we didn't get back until Tuesday night back here. So we're gone quite a while. Like I said, it's a long trip. It's 4 days of driving for us, 2 up and 2 back. We break it up. We could drive all the way through, but we take our kids with us, and so we just feel safer just kind of making a full day and then stopping and resting and then make up the rest of it the next day. So it was a good trip. We were able to make it to New Mexico, Clayton, New Mexico the first day, and got there just after dark, probably around 9 o'clock, and got a room and then left out and made it to Sheridan before dark the next day. So it was really good. Hit some bad weather there in Denver on that Sunday. It was raining, and I think it was 34 degrees, so the wife and kids were in shorts and t-shirts, and we got out to get something to eat, and we looked ridiculous because it was freezing cold and raining. But yeah, when we got to Sheridan, Wyoming, it was fantastic weather the whole time. We got a little bit of rain, but it was a really good show. We got there, we were able to get the booth unloaded out of the trailer Monday, which makes it really nice because I'm in class from Tuesday to Thursday. And I really don't like leaving that all up to Claudia, as far as especially just if I can just get it unloaded, that's a big help for her. And so we were able to do that on Monday in our spot, and we'll talk about our space here in a minute. It was pretty neat. Got that unloaded, and then classes began Tuesday morning we had 2 half-day beginner floral classes, and then Wednesday and Thursday we had 2 advanced floral classes, and all the classes were great. I met a bunch of great people. They did great work. I hope everybody got something out of it. I feel like they did. Made some progress in class, taught some things maybe they had or hadn't heard that hopefully helped them in their tooling. But I always enjoy the classes. I think I learned just as much or more than they do as far as from an instructor standpoint on how to relay this information, because it is an abstract, complicated, kind of artsy thing, right? When you're carving and drawing, it's a little different than just plug and play and this and this and this. You got to feel some of that in the material when you're doing it. But I felt like everybody enjoyed it. Met a lot of great people. Had some people from overseas, one from Britain and one from Germany. Had some other people that were from the South and from the West, and we just had people from all over, and it was just a lot of fun. The day went by. The full day usually is a long day. A lot of people haven't done 8 hours worth of tooling in one session. It's not very common. Usually we take breaks, right, and do 2 or 3 hours and take a break and come back to it. But those days seem to really fly by, and everybody's having fun and made a lot of progress. So it was really good. The trade show began on Friday, and so we got the booth all fixed up. Claudia did on Thursday and got it all fixed up. My kids actually took a class with Joe Melling. He did a decorative cut class Thursday afternoon, and the kids wanted to take a class. They usually take some sort of youth class or something at these shows, but they wanted to take something that was a little more advanced, maybe, just to see. And I said, well, Joe would be a good one. Joe's a really good guy. We've gotten to know him over the last couple of years, and just an outstanding fella and a really good tooler. And so I was really happy to have them in there with him in that class. And they seem to learn a lot. And so since we've been home, they've been carving with their swivel knives and stuff like that. So sometimes it takes somebody that's not dad to tell them how to do something, and then they can come back to it and kind of learn that. So we had a lot of fun there. So thanks a lot, Joe, for that. But yeah, as far as our booth space, if you were at the trade show, we were in the building where the World Leather Debut was last year. So basically the Thorn Rider building, which is the same building where it was last year. But this time we were up on the upper floor. When you walked in, the Leather Debut was to your left. To the right was a big staircase that went up, and you could see a loft, a second floor up there. And we actually had a whole corner with Joe Melling, Maker's Leather Supply, and us. And so we just made it like a big open space, basically, with just our booths there. And I was worried it might be kind of confusing, because you grab something from Makers and then something from Joe, it's like, where do you check out? And it's actually 3 different booths. But I only heard a few times where somebody was maybe at Joe's booth trying to buy something that was actually our product, or at Makers, vice versa, whatever. I only heard one or two, and it was no big deal. It was just like, oh yeah, that's Don's, or that's Makers. You need to go that little checkout deal over there. And so it seemed to be very fluid and very nice. Seemed like everybody liked it. We also had a bench. I had a friend of mine that made these big 4x4 tables that we've talked about. He ended up making me the idea was it's going to be a travel table that we could put in the trailer, take it to shows, wheel it into my classroom. It's got all of my stuff in there where I'm not having to lug, totes and be sure I got everything. This bench can be rigged out and ready to go, and all I got to do is put it in the classroom. It's a little oversized, it's a little heavy, it's a little big, and it wouldn't fit through the door of the classrooms at the college. I'm not sure about Waco, but we got some cool ideas though, because this bench was amazing. We put it in the booth. It's got electricity running, a couple plugs, one on each side. You can plug the bench into the wall, so now the bench has power. And so Aaron was able to just set a sewing machine right on the end of it and plug that in, because we did 2 satchels that they ended up giving away as door prizes at the show when you filled out your passport. So we were able to work on that bench, and it's got a tooling rock already in it. And we've got some pictures. I think Joe and Aaron and I have all posted pictures of it, but where all 3 of us are working on that bench during the build process of those bags. So that was a lot of fun to be working on a project during the show instead of just, standing around and visiting is fun, but it's even funner when you can visit with folks and be doing something and they're watching, and then if they have questions, you can just answer them right there because you're actually doing something. So I was tooling, Joe was tooling. Poor Aaron, he had to build the bags all by himself. He pretty much just built them, but he knows what he's doing. I don't know how many of those he's already built. So he was having fun. I checked on him a few times because I got worried, it's like, man, he's working like crazy over there on these bags, but he said he thoroughly enjoyed it. It kind of gave him a break from having to sling leather with his guys. So he left that up to them and worked on the bags, and they turned out really cool. I'm not sure who won the bags, so if you did win one of the bags, drop a comment down in here and let everybody know and what you thought about it and stuff. I thought it was pretty neat. But Joe and I basically just tooled a square piece that like a medallion that Aaron then sewed onto the flap. And I love that bag design. It's really good. If you haven't done that one yet, I'm sure he's got patterns for that out. I know it was a project box, but it's the Pony Express satchel. But you can call Makers Leather Supply and find out all the information you want to know about that. But yeah, so that was pretty neat to be able to, and I did some tooling demonstration as far as I just tooled some coasters and stuff while I was there. It wasn't really like a formal demonstration. I was just kind of tooling and visiting with folks, and ended up getting a little bit of a crowd gathered around. So I think that's something we may try to do at upcoming shows. So Aaron and I are going to visit about that and that kind of deal. I'm going to try to do some type of modification on that bench, or just do another one that's going to be maybe a little bit smaller. But that bench worked out great because it was very, very sturdy. In fact, Aaron at one point was setting rivets on one side and I was tooling on this side, and I never felt any vibration. It never bounced. It was very solid. So the craftsmanship on the bench is number one, because that bench it's like a dead blow bench. It does not have any bounce to it. So, which is what you want when you're tooling or setting rivets or punching ends, things like that. But real quick, I did in the last Monday video, I did mention that I called Leather Machine Co. because my machine, my class 4, had kind of bobbled up on me. It kind of quit working there for a second. And so I went through that whole deal, told y'all about that, how they were going to send this motor to me and all that. And I said, just bring it to Sheridan. Well, they brought it to Sheridan and I got it. But it was funny because we were about to leave Friday. We actually had a baseball game. My boy's last baseball game was Friday night. We left early Saturday morning. And so we were about to walk out of the shop, and I told Tate, I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and just try this machine. It's been sitting there turned off for whatever it was, a day and a half maybe. And so I just turned it on and I hit the pedal. The string was out of it, as I've been working on it. Hit the pedal and it worked just fine. And so I don't know what it was. I think I just confused a little board in there or something in the motor, and it just kind of got scared and turned itself off for a while. So when I got to Sheridan, this was the first thing Vince had handed us when they were unloading their machines and stuff. He handed me this and a new board for my clicker. And I told him what had happened, and he said, doesn't matter. Keep the motor, because if it does go out, then you have one. So that's another kind of statement towards Leather Machine Co. Even though I don't know what this motor cost, but because it's one of their machines and he doesn't want me down, because I said I don't think I need it. It's working fine. He said take it. If it's got an issue, it's going to go out on you. We're going to have to ship it anyway. Just take it and keep it. So I've got a brand new motor right here for the Class 4. I'm assuming I could use it on the 26 if it did something. I'm assuming they're the same. But that's just something to say that, when you're buying machines, be sure you got somebody behind you that's going to take care of you on that. I'm sure all the other ones do something very similar as well as far as taking care of the customers. Most of us want to do that, right? So, but my experience with Leather Machine Co. has all been positive. So we didn't buy any machines from them this trip, but maybe in Waco we might end up getting, Claudia wants the Class 18. The only reason I don't want it is because it's white. It doesn't match my other machines, but that's OCD, so we don't have to worry about that. Another cool thing that I got real quick was this, and I'm gonna do a little reel on this. This is a really neat thing. I've done a reel on this on something similar that we do with leather, where we just stack the leather up. It's for edging, like little strap goods with an edger. And so there's a gentleman, Rick West here, that makes these. He designed this product, and he had a booth there near us there at the Thorn Rider building, and was selling these, and I bought one from him. He came up and showed it to me, and I thought, I gotta have that, because it's basically the same thing I do with just scrap leather, but this one has a little bit more of an adjustment, a little bit more control, and it's just cool. It's 3D printed, I believe, and call Rick and talk to him. It's with Leather Creations, and I'll see if I can find a website, and I'll put a link down in the description to this thing, but it's just really cool. Man, like I said, he was showing it to me, and he was just like, yeah, I've seen your deal, you use that leather thing, and he said, I made this, invented this thing, or kind of designed this deal here, and I thought, I gotta have one, so I immediately bought one from him, and we're gonna screw that to a bench somewhere in here and use it. Really, really cool for edging any kind of strap, especially saddle strings, things like that. Narrower, lighter weight type stuff. Just makes it really, really easy. Also, one thing I wanted to talk about is I had a student in my classroom. Y'all have seen my sanding block. It's just a block of wood where I nail the sandpaper on there. I had a fellow in my classroom that is much smarter than I am, and I don't know why I never thought about this, but I'm not a carpenter, and so it just never came to me. But he had one of these and gave this to me. If I can get this out. All it is a belt, a sanding belt, and you can buy these in all different sizes at your hardware store, Lowe's, whatever. I don't remember exactly what size this one was, but buy the size you want, and then you cut a piece of plywood. This looks to be maybe 5/8, something like that. Piece of plywood, sanded it off, made it real smooth, and then if you cut it the right length, it just slides right on that belt. And now you've got a sanding block. Both sides, you can spin it around, do whatever you need to do. When it gets bad, you just take your wood block out, throw this away, get another one. And you're not trying to glue that. I used to glue this paper onto wood blocks and stuff, or nail it in on the sides. You don't have to do that. You can just buy the belts and then just cut you a piece of plywood that'll fit in there and keep it tight. And that's a nice sanding block for edges. So you can get all different grits, and you can have these hanging, and all you've got to do, or plywood's cheap, just make a bunch of them. That we don't have to change them out all the time. And have a number of different grits. Can really change your edge game. Because edging is mainly your ability to get that smooth, right? Your sanding job that you do before you start slicking an edge that makes that edge really nice on veg tan. If you're doing chrome tans or oil tans or something like that, we all know those don't edge real well. So, and then another thing is I'm gonna do a little reel and put it on Instagram, but I don't know if I told y'all on a Monday video when we got back from Prescott, but Ron's edgers, which is the ones that I use the Ron's round edgers. Toby will sharpen these at a show for you. So if you go to a show and he's there, he's got a little stand set up, and he'll sharpen your edger, your French edger. As long as it's one of his tools, he'll sharpen them for you while you're there. I found that at Prescott, and I've been sharpening them, but I'm not a expert sharpener of anything. So I can make it work for me in the shop. And I thought, these are going to Sheridan. So I threw them in the truck and had them in my toolbox and stuff, and when I saw him at the show, I handed them all to him. I handed him 4. That's what I've got, is 4 of the Ron's round edgers, and I handed him those, and I said, he was in my booth, I said, do you mind taking these back and sharpening them for me? He said, absolutely, and he got to looking at them, he said, but I'm gonna take them home. And I was like, oh no, why? Because I need my edgers, right? I was like, why are you gonna take them home? He said, because 2 of these are the points on the outside were long because I've sharpened them so many times that we're losing material of the cutting surface. So the points were getting too long. He said, you having trouble going around tight curves, inside curves? I said, yeah, on that one I am. He said, that's why, those points are too long. He said, I'm gonna take them home, rework them, sharpen them there, and I'll mail them back to you. I said, how long do you need them? He said, you'll have them back when you get home. And sure enough, they came in. They were probably in the mail Wednesday, but we didn't check the mail Wednesday because we were unloading and putting the shop back together. And so, but the kids went down, took a bunch of packages out to the post office, and they were in the mail already. So that's how fast he was. I was like blown away because now they all look just right. Now I can see what was wrong with them because, like I said, now they all look even. And I've played with them a little bit. They're super sharp. So that ought to last me pretty good. And if you go to every show, that's about every 3 months. Roughly February, May, August. And then if you want to fly to the Netherlands, you can do one over there in the fall. I don't know if he goes to Pendleton or not, but if you just do that, that's 3 times a year an opportunity to keep your edgers perfectly sharp by the guy that made them, which is really cool. And it ended up getting a number 7 round edger as well from him, and that edger there, I'm hoping, well, I know it will, but I've been needing a bigger one for my skirts and for my horn, because like in our edging video, you want to use the proper size edger for the thickness of the material that you're edging, because you want that edge rounded. You don't want the corner knocked off and then a flat spot and then the other corner knocked off. You want to take off enough material that edge is rounded completely. And so I'm eager to try this one. I've got another couple saddles started, so we're back at work in the shop, so to speak. So we'll do that, and I'm going to give that one a shot, especially on skirts. I think it's going to look really good. One note, when you're using a larger edger like that on thicker material, go back and watch our video on stitch relief as well, because you're going to need to bring your stitch relief in a little bit more and adjust for the thickness of the material and the size edger that you're going to use. Because if your stitches are too close to the edge, you're not going to be able to take off enough material to really compensate for that. So it's still not going to be proper. Another thing that I got was a stirrup stretcher. Now this stirrup leather stretcher, this is made by, I didn't buy it at the show, it's made by Justin Walker with Rockin' Out Hardware, and I've known him for years now. Met him in 2017, bought up quite a few conchos from him and different things like that. If you're looking for good conchos for your saddles that are flashy, that look nice, but aren't super expensive custom, he can do those for you too. But if you want just a good standard concho to put on some saddles, he's dang sure somebody to go to. Buckles, hardware, all kinds of stuff. But he texted me, and he was over at Terry Henson's shop, and he said, do you not have one of my, I guess he saw my stirrup fenders, just because I just turn them by hand and then I hang them and let them dry. He said, do you not have one of my stretchers? I said, I didn't know you made a stretcher. And so anyway, he showed me a picture of it, and Terry's got one, and then he said, I'm going to send one up there. He was taking something to Aaron that needed to be taken to Sheridan. So he said, I'm going to leave it with him. You get it from him. And so this is really cool. There was actually another gentleman there that I showed it to that was looking for a good one. I showed him this one. He knows Justin, and so hopefully he'll get one from him. But it's pretty simple. You just put your stirrup fender on there, get it turned however you're going to get it turned, and then you can tighten it down here by this bolt here, and then to get some tension on there, because tension does help too when you're turning stirrup fenders for a saddle. When you're pre-turning them, putting a little tension on them does help a lot. So now I have the ability to do that. So I'm eager to try this too. It's very simple, very small footprint. When you're not using it, it'll slide under a bench or right beside a bench in a corner, something like that. It's not going to be in the way. I've seen a lot of them that are so large they almost take up their own bench corner by themselves. So I like that one being that small. So, and they're fairly inexpensive. I don't remember exactly what he asked for them, but they're not too bad. I do have a little bit of a bone to pick with Bruce Johnson, and so if any of y'all been to these shows, you've been in Bruce's booth. He's got a lot of cool stuff, cool old tools. He refurbishes them and restores them and sells them and gathers them up across the country, and does a really good service for the leather community, especially craftsmen like himself and the rest of us, of preserving those tools. But he's got a bad sense of humor, I believe, because he brought this bag over to our booth full of candy. This thing is absolutely chock full of anything from chocolate to mints to all kinds of stuff, knowing that we had a 2-day drive back to Texas with 2 kids in the car. They're already hyper enough without sugar, and then he brings this by the booth. drops it off. And so I actually do appreciate it, Bruce, because I've already been in here a few times since it's been in the shop. I was not aware this was even in the booth until we got home and I was unloading the car. And I found this bag and I went, what did we get from Bruce? Because I didn't have a chance to go there and really look too much. And I looked in there and I said, that's just not nice. That's just not nice at all. But I appreciate it, Bruce and Rundy. That was very nice of you. But I'll just bring it with me to Waco and y'all can have it back for your booth, have all that candy. The kids have already been in it, so I'm gonna probably have to hide it somewhere in here. As far as the World Leather debut, we had our saddle in there. This is back here. I'll take some nice pictures of it. The saddle is available for sale. We built it for this. If I still have it by Wichita Falls, I may take it there. I may just build another one. We just have to see. Right now, I'm working on customer saddles. We got back. I immediately yesterday got ground seat going in another one. I've got another one on the bench back here, the red tree. That's a hog tree. I'm getting it started. But the debut was really, really neat. There was a lot of great work in there. It's just some really, really neat work. Aaron did an entire video of walking through the debut, kind of showcasing some of that stuff. We ended up second with our saddle in the debut, same as we did last year. So we're going to continue to try to keep going, right? So it was very good. The critiques were decent. We got to look at those and kind of see where we can improve, what we may be lacking in, and what we may just disagree on as makers. And that's a common thing, no matter what you're doing. But as far as the saddle, there was amazing saddles in the open floral as well as the geometrics. There was a guy in there that built a geometric saddle, a basket stamp, that I'm not sure I've ever seen basket stamp run that straight. And I told him that, and it was just phenomenal. But as far as the Ross Brunk won first in the open floral, beautiful saddle, wood post. I don't remember what the tree was. A swell fork. It wasn't a wade necessarily, but it was a wood post swell fork saddle. Very nice tooling, very clean, very classy, dyed background. Just a really pretty saddle with rounded skirts and stuff. Like I said, you can go to Aaron's video and see all of those, the placing winners and a lot of the debut in that video. And then Matt Warner got third place with his saddle. Beautiful wade, fully tooled. Really, really nice job. I like the color of that saddle that he did this year. It's very light. Last year he did more of a two-tone brown, more of a darker type coloring. This one was very, very light, and I just really liked it. I went light too this year. I went light last year, but this one was the resist type stuff. Had a lot of good feedback on the saddles. And then my kids entered into the youth division with Tate built some saddlebags, and my daughter built a purse, a Janie Sue purse, off of her pattern that she designed. We didn't do the fringe on it because she's not quite ready to cut fringe really accurately and safely. She's just not right there yet with a knife, so we need more time on the blade in the shop so that they can practice. But they both did really good. They got their critiques. They got to learn what they need to work on and what they can improve on, what they did good, and so it was really, really neat. I'll try to catch some photos of their pieces. They both have them. He wanted to ride his saddlebags and she wanted to use her purse, so they've been using them. But I'll try to catch some photos of it so you guys can see them. But I'm real proud of them. They did a good job, and they had a lot of fun being there and just throwing their hat in the ring. And that's what I told them. That's what it's about. Any of these competitions, it's not about anything else other than throwing your hat in the ring and getting somebody to tell you what you're doing good and what you're doing wrong. And then you can take that information and get better at what you're trying to do. But met so many great people out there. Got to see Chuck Dorset again. I got to meet Denny from Springfield Leather. Been wanting to meet him for quite some time. Just a really, really nice guy. Just down to earth. We visited and I consider him a friend. You know, just like Chuck. I've known Chuck now for 3 or 4 years. We've been going to shows and I see him at them, and just a delightful person. So most people in this community, leathercraft community, are just so nice and like I said, get along and everything else. And so it was just really cool. We got to see a lot of old friends and make a lot of new friends. And if you came by the booth, I really appreciate you coming by and visiting with us, introducing yourself, and for us to get a chance to meet you and visit and see where you're at in your leather career and things like that. So it was amazing. I'm sure I'm missing something that happened that I need talk about or somebody that I met or something like that. My wife got to meet Buck Brannaman again, or see him. She met him last year, and so that made her week. She is a huge Buck Brannaman fan, and maybe one of these days we can hit some of his clinics and things like that. Just a real nice man. He got to look at the projects the kids did, and he just seems like a real genuine person, and which is really, really neat to be around folks like that. So, which go to the leather community, that's what you're going to get usually, is just really, really great people. As far as us being back, so we're back in the shop. We got the shop pretty, like I said, it's pretty well put back together. We're running low on material packs. I've got another leather shipment I need to get here, and we're just right now. Now that I'm home, I've got ideas of what I need to be doing for the summer before Waco. Waco will be in August. We'll talk about that more later. But we've got a lot of projects in the shop that I need to get done and a little bit of rearranging. But as far as the shop, like I said, we're put back together. We're running. We are going to run a sale this weekend. It started this morning. 10% off, the same show special that we did in Sheridan. For those of y'all that couldn't make the show, it'll just, you don't have to have a coupon code or anything like that. All weekend long from now until Sunday night at midnight, you will be able to, whatever you order, it's going to be 10% off at checkout. So if you're needing something, pattern packs or material packs, whatever we've got, I'm going to try to add. I did cut some extra stuff for Sheridan, so I'll try to get that on the website. It may be from the cut page on there, but I'm going to try to get that up there today and maybe tomorrow, and make sure that everything's on there. But yeah, sale running through the weekend. Just for those that couldn't make the show in Sheridan, want to give you all that same show discount. So that'll end Sunday night. So if you're needing something, you can get on there, take your time. You got all weekend. You can make multiple orders, whatever you want. There's no discount code. You can just go on there and you'll immediately get that 10% discount at checkout. Real quick on the podcast, we did like 6 interviews before we left, and so we've got a lot in the pipeline. So right before we left, we had Nicole Morgenthau come out. She's a photographer, so we did that interview with her. Great episode. And then while we were in Sheridan, Joe Melling's episode dropped, and me and Joe had a really good time visiting. Got to know him, like I said, a couple of years ago, and over the last couple of years, and just a great guy. We just enjoyed talking. A lot of our stuff aligns as far as our thinking and what we do, and of course the education part of what we're doing, and so we just had a blast. But his episode came out last week, so if you hadn't seen that one or heard it, you might want to go back and check that one out. But we won't have one this week. We'll try to skip every other week if we can, get back on schedule here. So we'll have another one next week, and it'll be a good one. Everybody I interviewed before I left is really cool, really good, interesting interviews to hear their stories and things. And so those will all be coming out. And we made some arrangements with some folks up there that we met that we can get them on as well. And so hopefully we'll be consistent for the rest of the year and have a new episode every other week till the end of the year. Well, perpetually, hopefully. But if you don't know about our podcast, it's called Lost Trade, and you can find that on Apple or Spotify just by searching that, Lost Trade. Also, you can go to our website at dgsaddlery.com and just click up on the podcast button at the top, and you'll find all the episodes right there, and you can listen to whichever ones. I think we've got over 52 or 53 episodes up right now, which is really neat. So we're having a lot of fun with it, just a little passion project for us. But I appreciate you guys watching. I need to get off here and get back to doing some organizing, putting some few things away and getting back on these saddles. I want to thank everybody that came by the booth that I got to meet, old friends and new, people that were in my classes. Thank y'all very much. Hopefully the classes for Waco will get posted here pretty soon. We'll be doing that now since Waco will be the next show. We'll start getting ready for that, and we'll try to send that out in the newsletter early. So if you're coming to Waco and you want to get signed up, that would be a great opportunity. We will be at that show. It'll be in August. We'll start talking about it throughout the summer. I just want to thank everybody. Be sure to go to dgsaddlery.com and sign up for the Leathercraft newsletter. And we'll see you guys next week in the Monday morning briefing.